All right, y'all, I have another H&K pistol to bring to y'all this time, and while this one is not exactly as well known or as popular as the other HK pistols, it is still nonetheless well known by counter-terrorists, that are participating in global offensives, shall we say. So those people will understand what I'm saying when I say that. So this is the HK P2000 in one of the only correct ways I think that you should have this pistol. This is the full-size 9mm V3 version. So I have been looking up and down for this pistol for quite a while now, because P2000s are not exactly common pistols anymore, and I don't really even think HK really produced all that much for the commercial or civilian market anyways. I know they made an absolute boatload of these things for the Border Patrol here in the United States. As far as I know, they still carry them, but they're all 40 cal and have various configurations, I'm sure. But this one is in a correct caliber, 9mm. So, main reason why I got this is purely for cool factor. I have not really thought of a practical purpose for this gun yet. I mean, it definitely fits in the more compact category of firearms. So this is something I would probably want to carry for more, longer duration, or I'm concerned about weight or bulk or something like that. So this fits kind of in the same size realm as like a CZ75 compact or a CZ-P07 or something of that kind of size and shape, maybe even a P320 compact. So this is definitely the same form factor as those. So, but yeah, this one is not especially popular among HK fans, mostly because it's just been another kind of step in the road for the evolution of HK's line of pistols. First was USP, then the USP Compact, and then this thing happened. And then they went on from that to the P30 and the VP9 series, which are their current guns, so which I have both. So I figured, because this is lying in one of my favorite gun shops around here, and for a pretty good price actually. I only paid $640 out the door for this pistol. And it was used, of course. You can see the wear and everything on it. It has been carried a lot, and I believe not shot a whole lot, but whoever did carry this carried it quite a bit, because it does have a lot of holster wear, and there's fuzz and lint and things that were kind of clogged up in the small spaces. But it did come with original box with all the back straps and the spent test cartridge and manual and the original sticker and everything too. So that's pretty nice for $640, because I think a new P2000 will run you probably around the $800 to $900 range. So I'm quite happy with this, because HK pistols last for freaking ever. They are indestructible, and that is definitely no different with this one. So yeah, I got it mostly on cool factor because I play a lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and as everyone knows, this is the default starter pistol for counter-terrorists, alongside the USP-45 Tactical, which I also have, which I also got because of Counter-Strike. So there you go, Valve, doing H&K marketing, for them. But anyway, so that's mainly why I got it, but it's still, despite all that, a very, very good pistol. Just like every other HK pistol out there, at least the modern ones anyways, these things are utterly indestructible and very, very reliable, very well-made pistols. When I took this thing out shooting and cleaned it all up and everything, no reliability issues whatsoever, and that includes both the original magazines, which are quite old because they still say restricted law enforcement on them. I don't know if that'll show up there. It's really, really hard to see with the glare, but it does say restricted law enforcement only on these magazines, so that tells you kind of the age of this particular pistol, back when that was a thing. So these are USP Compact slash P2000 full-size magazines, 13 round capacity, kind of low capacity for a firearm of this size. Most things you see this size now are going to be 15 round capacity, but HK has never been super big on ultra high capacity stuff. They prefer reliability over capacity. So, but I have also a P30 slash VP9 magazine here. You can tell by the back there, and the witness holes are different. And I found that they looked very similar. So I was like, hey, I wonder if I can toss that in here and have it work. And as you can see, it locks in and fits just fine. And I ran a lot of ammo through this too. I put full magazine +1, so 15 +1 in this. I put hollow points through this, and despite it having a little bit of a gap right there in the grip, it functioned perfectly. So, and I actually believe that there is X-Grips makes an adapter that actually will fit this gap here. So that's pretty awesome. So now you can get a proper, quote-unquote proper and up-to-date 15+1 capacity in a pistol this size, which is honestly not all that bigger from the original Mag here. So that's pretty awesome. Also the fact that I have an absolute boatload of these P30 and VP9 magazines, so that makes it quite nice, because these particular USPC mags, P2000 mags, are expensive. Of course, if you have any HK pistols, you are quite familiar with the cost of magazines, and it should be no different to you. So this thing carries a lot of improvements over from the USP manual of arms, but it also has some things that we see on later pistols as well, like the P30. One of those things is the ambidextrous slide lock release lever here. So you can see it's on this side, and it's also on that side. So that's pretty cool. I definitely enjoy that. I don't usually shoot my pistols on the left hand too much, but it is a welcome addition if I do decide to change it up or shoot one-handed on either hand. So continuing the tradition that HK pistols tend to be pretty lefty friendly, at least the newer ones are, especially because this one also has the paddle mag release, as you can see right there, but it's very small. This is even smaller than my USP tactical one, and definitely smaller than the VP9 and the P30. So this one is much harder to activate for my my hands and where it's located. I can still get it just fine either with my thumb or middle finger, as I like to do it. No issues with that, but it is very small, and I know there are some reviewers out there who have said that it's a little difficult to actuate at times, which I can definitely see being the case. But I really do believe that this one was designed to be more compact in nature anyways, so it kind of takes the form factor and just really shrinks it down into a compact package. So I don't blame HK too much for doing that. The one thing I do not like, though, is because it is smaller, let's see if I can show this here. So there is a gap right here underneath the paddle. I wish it would focus correctly. There's a gap right here underneath the paddle right there, right? And when you put a mag in, you can see that it will move towards the frame. And then it finally snaps into place. The reason why I don't like that is because the flesh of my finger right here gets caught right underneath that little gap. So when I put a mag in, it pinches me a little bit, and I kind of don't like that. I imagine that could be solved if I put a larger, larger magazine release on here, because I know some people have taken USP compact magazine releases and swapped them in here for the P2000, and it fits just fine, as far as I know. I haven't tried it myself, obviously, but it's one thing I guess you could look into if you ever got one of these and don't like the pinch either. So otherwise, ergonomically, this gun feels quite good in the hand, despite the lack of, modern things like hyper-aggressive texturing on the side panels here. This is kind of old school. You can also see this pattern on I believe the HK45 Compact also has the same texture, which some people don't like, but I don't really find an issue with it. At the very least, though, the front strap and the back strap here are all textured. That's pretty nice. So it sits very well in my hand, as you can see right there. Obviously, it's a little bit smaller frame, but no big deal. Fingers all fit even without the pinky extension on there. They fit all just on there just fine. So if I really wanted to, I could get the flush base plates and put them on here, and it would fit just fine. So the location of the decocker is kind of like my P30, where it's this little button here on the back. I absolutely love this. I think this is more intuitive than the other slide-mounted decockers that you'll find, or even other decockers on other hammer-fired guns, like CC75s have a decocker on the frame, or Beretta M9's 92 series, which have it on the slide, usually like up here. I think this button back here is actually better than all of those, because this has already been checked clear. It's got a little snap cap in it. So, when you go to load your gun and everything, it's going to be here in single action, right? So you need to decock it to put it in your holster for the, I think, the correct way to carry this. So to me, it's very intuitive to just bring my thumb back here, and just press the button. That's super easy, rather than having to do this number or mess with a frame, decocker. It's just a button that's just right there in the back. Super easy. And it also works for left-handed people as well, because because it's on the back of the slide, it's just ambidextrous by nature. It's very, very simple to just hit that, and in your holster, away you go. Super, super easy. Other than that, the trigger. So trigger in this is nothing special, nothing fantastic. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best trigger I've had, but it's not bad either. So double action on this tends to be pretty standard heavy, very much what I would call a duty trigger. It's definitely heavy, but it's acceptably heavy. And I find that the travel and everything is quite smooth and very easy to actuate in double action for quick, accurate shots or repeat or restrikes, whatever you need to do. No problem at all. The single action on this is actually, I think, pretty good. It's not as good as my USP Tactical because that is a factory match trigger in it, but this one is certainly not bad either. So, you got a little bit of take up there, and then boom, like that. So, I think a pretty decent and clean break for a duty gun. This is not a match gun by any means. It's not a hyper competition gun. It was never meant to be, because they don't even have a bigger size of P2000 than this. So there's no like long slide version, though. That would be super cool if they had a P2000L. It's like a bit of a longer slide. That'd be pretty cool. But they don't. So HK, I think, was very clear with their intentions for this pistol. It's not meant to be a hole-in-hole target gun, punching holes in paper, 25 yards, getting like an inch group or something. That's not to say that this is not an accurate gun, though, or that you cannot shoot it accurately. You absolutely can, and I proved that to myself when I took this out and I got my usual standard of right around 2 inches, 5-shot group at 25 yards. Even with the shorter sight radius and the acceptable duty style trigger on this, you can definitely still get some pretty darn good accuracy out of this. About on par with anything else I've shot. So very good on them, HK, for doing that. Another thing I like also too is that this is, I think, one of their first pistols they actually decided to go with, as they keep saying in the manual, industry standard accessory rail. Like if you actually read the P2000 manual, it says in big quotation marks repeatedly throughout the manual, industry standard accessory rail, right? As if they're like the engineers at HK were just like, okay, fine, we'll put a little pick rail slot on here for all you plebeians out there. You can't handle the proprietary USP rail or whatever, absolute nonsense, but very much HK in a lot of ways. So that means you can, just like your more like compact locks, like your Glock 19s and everything that have just the one slot up here, pretty much the same fit. So I have a TLR 7 here, which I'd like to swap between a few guns because it fits very nicely in compact guns. But as you can see, it fits just fine on this pistol, and I think it actually looks pretty darn handsome too. Like, this would be a really nice package to have. If you're like a security guard or something, and you can pick your own duty sidearm, and you want something that's pretty compact but still pretty darn capable, I mean, this would be an excellent choice, I think, because it's, the smaller it is, not going to get caught on stuff, but you can still have a decent light on here, and it's still pretty friggin' bright. So this to me feels like a very handsome, very compact, nice, good package for a lot of purposes. In case you don't want to lug around a full-size gun or anything. But yeah, that fits quite nicely on there, so I'm happy with that. I might even just leave this light on this gun and get a special holster that fits the light and the gun itself for outer waistband carry, because I don't know, there's just something about this. It's just handy, It's just normally I prefer full-size pistols like my P30L or VP9, but or even my USP Tactical 45, right? And that thing's an absolute freaking boat anchor. But this one is very handy and very compact, but it still can get the job done, definitely. So overall, yeah, I'm very, very happy with how this pistol has performed. The shooting and everything, perfectly acceptable trigger. It's not a match trigger by any means, not the nicest trigger I've fired. In fact, I think in some ways my P30 actually has a nicer trigger than this. But it's not bad. It's really not bad. Recoil on this is a little snappier, I would say, than my other guns, but those are also full-size guns. This is more compact, so all the energy has to go somewhere. But the recoil system in this, so I'll just show you real quick. The recoil system in this is very similar to the ones that I have observed in the P30. So if we take it apart here, you can see recoil spring on there has that big plastic buffer kind of sitting around it. So this is very, very reminiscent of the P30, and I believe other USP designs as well. So that definitely does help reduce the felt recoil and kind of the shooting characteristics and how it feels as you're shooting it. Definitely a good system by HK. I love it when they include that and have that in their pistols. It's one thing that a lot of people really don't talk about when it comes to HK pistols, I think. So I'll put that snap cap back in there. Yeah, so the recoil system, how it shoots, everything else, just a real pleasure to shoot. A lot of these more compact pistols can be a little snappy, a little unpleasant to shoot over time, but this one you can stay all day at the range and put 500,000 rounds through this in one sitting and not feel a thing. So definitely awesome there. Overall, like I said, very happy. This is definitely a welcome addition to my HK family of pistols. Definitely fits up there with in terms of reliability, durability, accuracy, shooting, performance, all that stuff. It's right up there with the best of them. So it's a shame that this design wasn't more popular and more people didn't pick up on it. And it's probably a little outdated according to today's standards for a carry gun, because, as I said, with how chunky this thing is now, I mean, just look how chunky that is. For today's standards, where you can get an itty bitty SIG 365, which is like this big and holds 12 rounds, versus this chunky thing which holds 13. A little outdated by today's standards for concealed carry, but still, despite all that, maybe being obsolete or outdated for concealed carry does not mean that it's not capable. So, and besides, I would much rather carry this outer waistband anyways instead of inner waistband. So, but that's just me. Everyone has different preferences for how they carry. But yeah, I can definitely see why the Border Patrol would want something like this, even in 40 cal, which is I would argue not as good a caliber, but it's just 10 millimeters short. So if you think of it that way, it's a little bit more acceptable. So. Yeah, very happy with this pistol, and yeah, HK has another great design here. So yeah, I'm happy to bring this to you guys so you take a look at it. And if you see one of these things, I would definitely encourage you to buy one and enjoy it as much as I have, and I will continue to enjoy this. And definitely bring it alongside my USP Tactical for some great counterterrorism action. So. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about that, and hope you guys like it, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.